Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
Hello. Well, you can notice my hand is in this bandage, but let me tell you a short story of this hand even before we start. Otherwise, during the program, we're going to be watching, oh, what happened to the hand? What happened to the hand? Let me explain. You know, I'm up there, you know, I'm 68. But you guys, you call me the youngest old man. So I think it has gotten to me. I actually thought I was a young man. So I went to play tennis, man. And my partner, 35 years old, he directs the program. Charlie, I won't say the guy beat me. Oh. He whooped my ass, man. Show some he whooped my ass, man. And there was a point I said, yes, boss, that's what I call. I said, yes, boss, go easy small. You 35, 68, why are you beating? It's okay. He said, let's play one more game. I said, why? He said, oh, I know I'm beating you, but you know what? I want the margin. It's the margin. I want a big margin. Show some love, man. Well, today we are here today, and it's the first show for 2025. So I'm so glad I'm starting the show on such a solid, powerful note, folks. My guest here, I've been trying to get him to host him for a long time, but I think today his being here is the best. I'm sure you all know him. He needs no introduction. Right now, when I mention his name, what will come to your mind immediately is, hey, the guy, he's on the oral team, a bit tough. But before he got on the oral team, he was the Auditor General. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Show some love for Mr. Daniel Domelevo. Yes, sir. There we go. There. Yay. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Good to
Please
see you
have a
too.
seat.
All right, thank you.
Man, today the show, all of you who have taken some gifts, you will receive them all on this show. I have the oral man in the house. Anyway, we are going to take a short commercial break. When we come back in the house, Daniel Domelevo. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Folks, are you aware that on every last Sunday of the month, there's a massive buffet at Cactus Creek, different local, the best of locals at Cactus Creek every last Sunday. So I'm inviting you there this week. Come join us to have the great lunch buffet with a live band. It starts at 1 p.m. sharp and is on till 6 p.m. And the rate is 320 CDs per person. But if you're coming in a group of 5, you can call and get a group discount. The number to call is 055-039-5007. Local, Sunday. See you at Cactus Creek.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room? Or the cute gift shop? Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. A most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
KSM Show.
If you want the Otunfo of all shows, the Kofi Annan of all shows, it is the KSM show. It is the Togbi of all shows. Once you get to KSM, entertainment, information, and education, you have it.
We're back, folks. And as I said in the beginning, it's a pleasure to be back. The first show for this year. And it's an extreme and extra pleasure to be hosting my good friend, Mr. Daniel Domelevo. Show some love, man. Mr. Domelevo, welcome to the show, man. Good to see you. Sorry, you heard the story about the hand, so
Yes.
I'm sure you understand now. Good to have you, man.
It's good to have you too. And interestingly, I'm a lefty, so if
Oh,
you
you are
don't pick
lefty,
up,
so there's
I'm going
no
to bring
problem.
the other one.
I was trying to get you way back then.
I know.
And then something happened, and I heard
Yes.
that they had removed you. Did
Yes.
they remove you, or you resigned, or something happened? Tell me a little bit about that before we get on the program.
Well, I think I was removed.
You were removed.
I did not resign because, like I said to the president, I was creating too much problem for him. He was very uncomfortable with the type of audit I was doing and holding his officials accountable. And he thought it was necessary for me to go.
But before we get there,
Yeah.
isn't that what you're supposed to do? Isn't that your terms of reference, that as the Auditor General, you're supposed to keep an eye?
Exactly, that is my term. And interestingly, this is the president who, before I was appointed, that is when I was nominated, before swearing in, called me and said that, he hears I have some reservations of accepting the appointment, so I should go ahead and accept it because he wants to fight corruption. Wow. And he's been told that if he wants to fight corruption,
You're the person.
I'm the guy who is supposed to do that because in his words, you can do the work with your eyes closed. I'm told. As I have asked around and I'm told you can do the work with your eyes closed. And
This is quite interesting. So he actually called you
he did.
and said, in case you are wavering,
Any doubt, please go ahead.
because you can do the job.
Exactly. Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe called me on his phone and said, hold on for the president-elect. That time he had not been sworn into office. And said, hold on for the president-elect. And Anado himself told me that I've heard you have some reservations and you may not accept the appointment. Please don't do that. Wow. Go for it because I've checked around and I'm told you can do the work with your eyes closed. So take it. When I come to office, we'll see how to work together. And true to his words, actually, when he came to office, I think about the second week we had the first meeting and we continuously met and things were smooth. Anywhere he met me, he only congratulated me for doing my work.
Wow.
It is only when we exceeded 2017 and we're now in 2018. Now we have to audit 2017, which is his era. That is where the table stand. Yes. So when I was holding the previous administration accountable,
was okay.
it was very okay. And if you have doubts about what I'm saying, check the State of the Nation address 2018 and also his speech during Independence 6 March 2018. He praised the Auditor General for saving him enough money to do free HSs. He said, people say, where will I get money from to do free HS? But now the audit has
And
saved
he
me
credited you for saving enough money.
so much money because I disallowed 5.4 billion Ghana cedis, which was liabilities accumulated as at the end of 2016. You know, one of the bad practices in the public sector, I said bad practices because I've been in the public sector for a long time. People don't know. They think I came only as Auditor General. I was at the Accountant General for 18 years.
Oh my goodness.
But the payroll they use, which they call IPP, they implemented it. I was also the first IFMIS director. So I've been an Accountant General for a very long time.
Wow.
Yes. Anytime there was a change in government, between the time the government goes away and a new government settles, like as at now, there's a lot of contracts that are signed by MDAs, the chief directors and their directors, etc. They sign a lot of fake contracts, backdating them into the previous year. But then they've forgotten that auditors can always unmark these things easily. So
So actually fake up a contract and then backdate it.
Oh yeah.
So it will look like it
today
came
they will be signing a contract today dated maybe 1st October 2024.
Wow.
So you see they say, this is an old contract.
Okay.
But they've forgotten that it is a process. So during the audit, we ask you, you have this contract, fantastic. It looks very good. But tell us, how did it start? When did you advertise this? Did you use a single source, or you use competitive or restricted tendering? Because each of them have got its procedure. If you say you did single source, you
There's a
ask
procedure for
where
that.
is the PPA approval that you got to do a single source procurement? You may not have it. So it shows that there's something fishy. If you say you did competitive tendering, yes, show us the advert, the press cutting of the advert, and how many tenders did you receive? Can we see them? Where's the evaluation report? And etc.
Oh, wow.
So by the time we get into the details, you own up. So people bought the tender document, right? Can we see their check payments in your bank account? Because you collected that check and deposited it in your bank account. Show us your bank statement, which shows that people bought your tender document. Because you can bring fake tender documents. Say, fine, so people bought this. Is that not it? Yes. So show us. So that is easy to identify this. And I'm very sure that today, if we go back by the end of this month, the bill that they will tell government, which is the outstanding liabilities, at times about 50% are fake. Wow. Yes. And I think if President Mahama is serious about this, he may have to make sure that he audits the liabilities that he's coming to meet before start payment. Because as at now, previous government appointees and heads of MDAs and etc. are still faking contracts.
Wow.
They call the
so
contractor.
Even all those should be audited.
If it is not audited and they start paying, they'll just be throwing government money away.
Oh my word.
That is what happened in 2017. Hence, I disallowed 5.4 billion. That time it was equal to 1.1 billion US dollars.
Wow.
Which I disallowed.
Which
the
have
president
gone
was
through the
very
system.
happy. Yes, yes. These are liabilities they submitted to Ministry of Finance to pay. And I told the finance minister, I should hold on, let's go and verify. We went to do the verification, and he realized that, oh, look, these are fake payments.
Wow.
And I think to stop this, there must be consequences for this fraudulent behavior. Not just to cancel it by the Auditor General, but people must be prosecuted. Because these are attempting to steal. And if it was you and I, you will have gone to jail. But the funny thing about our legal system is that when the people who commit economic crimes which affect all of us, they commit crime, they are well protected and safe. But if the hungry woman steals maybe a corn, banana, or...
they go to jail.
They go to jail
12
immediately.
years.
And the judges are merciless on them. But when you come to these ones, you never know what happens.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
So you uncovered that, and the president was not too happy when you went to the year.
No,
that
the president
affected him.
was happy when I uncovered that.
the previous one.
Then the following years, you remember
Okay.
one of my audits, I came out with a finding that about 6 ministers of state had used money meant for needy and brilliant students as scholarship and gate fund. They had used it to travel abroad, including Martin Opoku Prempe,
I remember. Yes.
Yasafu, and
Yes.
etc.
Yeah.
He was not happy with those type of findings at all. Then came the famous Osafu Mafu's
Kroll,
case,
the Kroll and Associates.
Yes. That one, I think, is the straw which broke the camel's back.
This is what happened there, yeah. This man, where is he? Wow.
So, yes.
No, but it's very, very interesting that the man called you and say, I hear you are wishy-washy. Please, I want you to stay because I need somebody like you.
Exactly. That's exactly what he told me. In fact, he said he had spoken to Osafu Mafu, Kandapa, Akotose, and Co. You know, all these people were at the Ministry of Finance, around Ministry of Finance, when I was an Accountant General. So I know them, and they also know me. And they say, that guy, he's tough. If you need somebody to do that work, go for him. So he called me and said, look, don't reject the offer. Take it. When I come, you'll see how to fix it. Wow. So there was no problem the whole of 2017. I don't think there was not even one problem.
Because you are uncovering stuff that did not affect.
Little did he remember that after that regime,
it will be
the next was going to be his. And the problem started.
Wow.
Yes.
You know, I always kept wondering, when did he change? Because honestly, for some reason, I believe that he was well-intentioned and even calling you
Yeah.
and saying, I hear that you go by the books and I want you to stay because I want you to help me when I start.
Yes.
So in your own estimation, this is I'm trying to tell you to guess.
Yes.
Why do you think a change came, or when did that change come?
Now, the problem is that I started auditing 2017, which was his era, okay? And his ministers and appointees were uncomfortable. So they were reporting to him that I was fighting the government. In fact, there was a very interesting scene also. I remember one of the audits was of that institution, National Health Insurance. Good. And in the course of that National Health Insurance audit, Professor Diajimai did everything possible to stop it. The board chair of the audit service. Oh yes, he did everything, and I said, no way, I'm going in there to see what happened. And the then chief executive actually brought some audit findings to him, and he wrote to the board that they want to oversee. Based upon that, I even petitioned the president that the board and the board chairman were interfering with my job, because as far as I'm concerned, under the Constitution, Article 1A7A, it says that the Auditor General, in the performance of his functions under the Constitution and any other law, is not under the direction and control of any other person or institution. Wow. So that included the board. I kept telling them that there's no exception for you. So I'm not.
But the board thought they could interfere and stop
But they thought they could interfere. So I wrote to the president, but that didn't stop it. Do you know, the funny part of it is that when the audit was completed and they prepared what we call the draft audit report, which I had to review before issuing, I had to go to Kumasi. So that morning, I took off from Accra very early. I reached Kumasi before it was 8 o'clock, and the program was around 10 o'clock. So I had about 2 hours window. And I told my driver and security that, look, I am very hungry. Let me get a place to eat. So the Lancaster Hotel, that time it was something else.
It was Golden Tulip.
Golden Tulip, yes. I said, they have buffet, so let's just go there. You know, I grew up in Kumasi. I schooled in Kumasi and stayed in Kumasi for a long time. So
you're a
sacred
boy.
Very much. If you know, what do you call it, Ayija, that was my playground.
I used to go to Kwame University Primary School long ago.
Yes.
So that was my throttle station.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So adjacent to the Kwame Nkrumah University is Bomso.
Yes.
That's where I grew up, at Dr. Pia place. So we went there I said, let me go and they have buffet, so I just take something quickly and then we go for the function. When I entered the restaurant, Madame Frema Opare was seated right there looking at me. So she beckoned me. So I went to her and said, good morning, ma. I said, good morning, my brother. But what is surprise? I just mentioned your name and you entered. So this saying is very true that if you mention someone,
they are not dead, they are dead.
They are dead. And say, oh, okay. So he said, Jenna, we need to talk. I said, why not? We can talk. So he told the people near her to excuse the two of us. And she started that, I am told you are fighting us. And as I said, fight the us.
Who's the us?
And who is telling you? He said that, okay, she will go straight to the point. The point is that she heard that I launched an audit into national health insurance covering about 8 years. But my concentration is only on the NPP era. Instead of looking at the previous, maybe 2014, 2015, 2016, she thinks, and the people think I'm concentrating only in 2016, 2017, 2018. So I said, oh, God is a wonderful God. And I asked her, does she believe that God reigns? And she said yes. And I said, okay. I said, look, madam, what you are saying, the report on that audit, I was reading it on my way to Kumasi. When I came out of the car, I left it in the vehicle. But afraid of the fact that maybe my security and my driver may read the report, I went back and took it. And this is the report I'm holding. So I'm holding the report you are talking about that is targeting you. Can I show you just the executive summary?
Wow.
So I showed her the executive summary and said, look, out of 35 audit observations That is infractions identified, 35. Only 5 related to your period. 30 relates to the previous period.
And
so how can
you happen
this
to have the document
I was holding the document in my hand. So I said, I can show you just the executive summary. The truth, however, is that the 5 infractions of your period, the value is far bigger
But the 35.
the 35. But now who caused out? I didn't determine what your people.
Yeah.
Your people
You
should-
told her?
Yes. So she looked at it and she was like, "Oh my God! As for this, my people, if you don't take time, they will just disgrace you. Go ahead and do your work."
Wow.
That's what Madam Freeman said.
So in the meantime, all she had heard was the gossip that you are out
Targeted.
against.
Yes,
to
because
go.
even the board chairman, Professor Dua Jimai, was doing everything possible to stop the audit, including asking the board to take a decision. And I said, you can take whatever decision you want, but the decision of the board does not stop the Auditor General in any way. And of course, funny enough or fortunately enough, in the case of CDD and others versus the Attorney General, which was on my leave case, the Supreme Court pronounced that I'm not under the direction and control of the President nor the board.
Wow.
So it says the position of the Auditor General is too generic. It is what do you call it? A unique position.
Independent
It is
position.
an independent position, so you cannot do that. So that is how it went. And of course, I'm not surprised because you can see the extent of loot which followed. You can see it. If the president had just worked with me, I'm sure we would have prevented a lot of these things. Immediately, I left the scene. It was now.
And then the sad part is for somebody who said, I am here to protect the public purse.
I shall protect the public purse. I shall protect the public purse. I shall protect the public purse.
And someone who has told you, please stay on and be strict because I want you to work with me to protect the public purse.
Yes.
And so what was it that he was listening to gossip, people telling them, oh, this man is against us, blah, 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 and he believed that? Or did he call you at any time to say, this is what I've heard, and why do they say you're against us or anything?
Oh yeah, we had several discussions and I cannot disclose the details
I
of
respect
them
that.
for confidentiality.
I respect
but
that.
definitely, as for what I wrote him, is in the public domain. And I stated categorically that my audits are disturbing you because I'm holding you and your people accountable. And definitely it was not going easy. And timing-wise, you notice that I was asked to proceed on leave at the end of June 2020. And there was election coming December 2020. And in June, I was going to issue the audit report of 2019 and start surcharging people. I don't think that will have worked well for them at all. Given how narrow that election went, it will have been dangerous for them. Because, the problem about audit is that you don't just surprise them with your report. You issue what we call first audit observation on the field.
Or you put it out
oh yes,
for them to see.
We don't audit like forgive me, the press, like the press people, they attend, they see that they go and report. No, we don't do that in audit. When I see that this cap should be here and it is not here,
I'll let you know.
I first and foremost tell you, but where's the cap? You say, oh, it is here. It's just about, let me look for it. I think you are wasting time. Then I raise an observation that is put into writing. You in the past they call it query. Now we want to be a bit nicer, so we say
Raise an
audit
observation.
we are raising an observation that the cap which used to be here cannot be found. Then you respond, say, oh, give me some 2 days, you will find it. The audit finished after 1 week, you still not found it. So it will find itself into what we call the draft audit report or the management letter. So the management letter contains all the outstanding observations which have not yet been addressed satisfactorily. So that one too, the law requires under Section 29 of the Audit Service Act that we should give it to the auditee and give him or her 1 month, 30 days
to respond.
So they knew what was coming because they had seen the management letters and they're like, this guy. So quickly the board together with the presidency said, the guy has not been going on leave And I myself has also asked the presidency, because I said under Article 71,
Yeah.
the president is the one who is supposed to determine our conditions of service based upon recommendation of a committee. But there is nothing about a leave for the Auditor General. How many days I'm entitled to, I don't know.
Oh,
so
okay.
I reach out to the presidency and say, how many days am I entitled to? They say, oh, he's brought himself. Okay.
You're
Yes.
overdue.
Yes. So they gave me, I think, 45 days per year with retroactive effect. Go. Take it all and go.
Kone huntoye.
Yes. So ironically, you see that at that time we were at the Supreme Court on two cases, two major cases. The first one was Kroll and Associates together with Osafo Mafu.
Mafu.
Yes. And Justice Afia, the High Court judge then, as she was, wanted to know if the position of the senior minister was acceptable to me. That is, the senior minister contended that there were national security concerns or national security issues. That is why the work done could not be shown to the auditors. And we contested that there is no law, we have not seen any law which exempt national security from audit. So national security is subject to audit. Because the Constitution, read clause 2 of Article 187. It says the central government, the district, all government institutions, including national security. And of course, we audit them. So since when the national security issues become exempt from audit, we were challenging that. So Justice Afia said, okay, since this one is a constitutional issue, Supreme Court, go to Supreme Court for interpretation. So it was pushed to the Supreme Court. And we went to the Supreme Court actually. At the Supreme Court, the presiding judge, Justice Jones Doche, asked me through my lawyers if I would be okay if he instruct Osafo Mafu to give me the evidence of the work done. If it would be okay. And through my lawyers, I replied him that it is not okay at all. It will be a bad precedent to be set by the Supreme Court. Because what it means is that now if you are the headmaster of a school and they say go and buy rice, we come and there is no rice and we raise issues against you and surcharge you for not buying the rice, 2 years later you can call and say I bought the rice, so come and look at the rice. So audit will never finish. And beyond that, I had completed the audit and issued my report to Parliament already. And now if you say I should go and look at it, am I going to recall that report and issue a second edition? So if we do that for the senior minister, what about the head teachers and the heads of departments? So it was going to be
something we were not going to do.
Yes. And then we reminded the Supreme Court that the reason we came was not to look at evidence, was to determine whether national security is exempt from audit. And it is our considered position, again, that national security was just an afterthought raised by Honorable Osafo Mafu. Why? Because like I told you, in the course of the audit, there was an audit observation issued to them. And they responded. They didn't talk about national security. They said they were looking for the evidence to give to the auditors.
What was the observation?
The observation was that they've seen a payment voucher paying $1.something million to Kroll and Associates. But then they wanted evidence of work done. And they could not see it. They couldn't show it to them. So it means money was just thrown away.
What was the response? Did they give a response?
And the response was that no, they did some work and they are getting the work, they will make it available. It never came until this was somewhere in January. Then in March, the management letter, which I talked about, the draft audit report, also raised the same issue again, repeated the issue, that this issue has not been resolved. And Minister of Finance responded that they are liaising with the senior minister's office to get the evidence for us. And that never came until June, when I issued my audit report to Parliament. Then I served the senior minister and the officers from the Ministry of Finance notice of intention to disallow and surcharge the amount against them. Because from January to June, you have not been able to provide the evidence. Actually, under Section 29, they have only 30 days. And for almost 6 months, you have not provided the evidence. So when that notice went, before Honorable Osafo Mafu wrote and said that the people are working with him and blah, 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 blah. So we told the Supreme Court that even Osafo Mafu's letter in August June, I issued the audit report to Parliament. In August, Osafumafo wrote to me. He didn't mention national security.
Wow.
It is only when he received the notice of the intention to disallow and surcharge that
That's
Ya
when he-
Opon, who was his lawyer, now a Court of Appeal judge. Another interesting thing is that after that case, the High Court judge, together with the two lawyers who were defending Osafumafo, they are all now Court of Appeal judges. They were all promoted, the lawyer and the judges. They are all in the Court of Appeal. It may be a coincidence. I'm not saying there was a foul play, but I'm saying...
They may say,
I'm just saying-
yeah, we accept it. It's a beautiful coincidence.
I said that, I'm not saying that anything happened, but
Wow.
they are all now on the bench. They are all at Court of Appeal. So, based upon the decision of the... So the Supreme Court was like, no, we will adjourn, we will rise and come back. So they rose, came back about 20 minutes time and said in their own wisdom, they are not interested in hearing the argument. They are instructing senior minister, give the information or the evidence of work done to the Auditor General. Auditor General, you have 10 days to come back to the Supreme Court to tell us whether you are satisfied or you are not satisfied. Good. 5 days after that, then the presidency go on leave. On the 6th day, the new Auditor General, who is the current Auditor General, wrote to the Supreme Court to say, I've seen it, I'm fine. Everything is okay. He planned the audit, executed the audit, and reported on audit within 24 hours. Light speed, neck-breaking speed. In fact, we should be giving him an award. I think that's the fastest audit,
Man.
the fastest audit that
Ever
ever
done.
happened, maybe on the globe. He planned the audit,
Wow.
executed, did the entrance, the exit conference, everything, and reported within
Was that
24
an
hours.
audit or a cover-up?
Well, you can call it cover up, but he said he did an audit. From his point of view, it's an audit. So that is how things went, and the rest is history. The civil society went to the Supreme Court. Fortunately, finally they came back and vindicated me or supported my position. But they also did well in providing me with a Pyrrhic victory, a victory which was completely useless and nonsense. They waited till I reached retiring age. then they now say, oh, you are right, but you are now retired. So, and what pained me most, KSM, is the fact that when I read the judgment, then I say, these guys, first I thought they were ruling in my favor. But if you read the judgment, they say that if they don't support my position, it means that in the course of an election, for instance, the president can just tell the electoral commissioner that go on leave and appoint somebody else to continue. Then when maybe the case go to the court, the Supreme Court, for determination, Chief Justice and co can be told, go on leave. Then the president will appoint new judges to preside. So they think that is very wrong. So they were protecting their jobs, not me. So if they ruled against me, it means that they were also candidate for proceed on leave. So I said, look at this guy. You could have hidden it. You don't need to say it. You could have just said, in principle, this is wrong and we don't stand by it.
That's all they needed to have said. What else?
Yes, but they went further to give examples which made me to say that, so this judgment is not about me, it's about themselves. So that's the public service for you.
Wow. Yeah. Show some love, man. We are hanging out with Daniel Domelevo. I have always wanted to talk to him, but my God, this is like the best time to talk to you.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back into some of the issues you have raised, but what's your background? Is just accounting or there's some law involved there? what?
That's very interesting. Many people think that I'm a lawyer. I am not a lawyer.
Wow.
You know, being trained as an accountant, you do some law.
Okay.
Yeah, so I studied law, commercial law, business, law of contract, and a bit of thoughts and etc. And what happened was that I was teaching at Kumasi Polytechnic, K-Poly. And one day the vice principal called me and said, Daniel, we've lost our lawyers who were teaching. And people tell me that you are good in law, so why don't you teach? And I say, but me, I am not a lawyer. And say at times you have to use the quack doctors until the doctors come. They come, so please go and handle it. So I started teaching law at K-Poly, Kumasi Polytechnic, yes, K-Poly. And interestingly, that particular year, when my students went for the exams, they had the best passes. They passed like nobody's business. So I became an attraction. So after some time, we got lawyers. And the students were not happy to attend the lawyers' classes.
They wanted to come to yours.
They said they wanted where they were passed. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
so that is how my law background
Yeah.
started. One of the people, you may know some of my students. I don't know if you know now a professor, Ali Nachia.
Yes.
Ali
Was your
Nachia.
student?
He was my student at K Poly. You know, Mami Tiwa,
Yes.
COP, Mami
CO
Tiwa.
yeah.
She was
Was your
also, I
student?
taught her law at Polytechnic.
Oh,
I was there a
wow.
lot. And Ali Nachia now is a lawyer, and I am not a lawyer, but I was his lawyer.
Folks, show some love, man. It's a very, very interesting engagement. We're going to take a short break for a commercial. When we come back, oh, there's so much more. We haven't talked about Ola. So let's take a commercial break. When we come back, talk about many other things, including Ola. You know Ola? Stick around. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Folks, are you aware that on every last Sunday of the month, there's a massive buffet at Cactus Creek, different local, the best of locals at Cactus Creek every last Sunday. So I'm inviting you there this week. Come join us to have the great lunch buffet with a live band. It starts at 1 p.m. sharp and is on till 6 p.m. And the rate is 320 CDs per person. But if you're coming in a group of 5, you can call and get a group discount. The number to call is 055-039-5007. Local, Sunday. See you at Cactus Creek.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room? Or the cute gift shop? Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. A most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
The KSM Show.
Keep watching your most authoritative KSM show, the best show. We all love it. And I would like all of you to keep watching KSM. He is a patriot who loves our country and who has done this for many years. And we cannot miss the opportunity to support him, to express our solidarity, and to wish him the very best. So keep watching the KSM show.
Thank you so much. We're back, and I'm sure all of you were waiting. This one commercial break that nobody turned off. You're still tuning because you want to hear about Ola. We are going to get there. We're going to get there. But just quickly, the kind of motivation, the kind of discipline, the kind of dedication that one needs to have to be an Auditor General. Where in your growing up, in your past, did you pick up anything that you see relevant today that has made you the man of integrity that you are?
Thank you very much. You know, I said earlier on that I worked for 18 years at the Treasury, and I saw the looting and the rot that was happening in the public sector. Unfortunately, I had no power.
I see.
You could only write to your boss, and they will put it aside.
Yeah,
And
your
they
boss
say-
is probably part of the loot
and,
anyway.
Yeah,
so.
and they said, too known, too known. I remember one day, I went to my boss and asked him, "Sir, you are, I won't mention his tribe, he's an Akan, eh? But I don't want to mention whether it's an Ashanti or Fanti or whatever it is. And said, do you know, when I was in Kumasi, I used to go to Patakesias, the cultural center, and there was a poet, Anyun Semura. And one of the poems, the heading, which I like so much, is Atumfonia Ketechi, one amubo mai. So it is the big ones in society who are destroying the society. So how come that we print check stock? Those days we produce check stock for payment of salaries. I told you I was in charge of salaries. And each bank may have about 3, 4, 5, or 10 checks for payment of various public servants. So at the end of a month, we will have used about 3,000, 4,000 checks, okay? So I said, sir, why is that we print this check stock so much that at the end of the day, we don't even consume 5% of it. Then we say the features are no more relevant.
We get
rid of it. Then we go and produce, and we don't take a cue from the previous one to say, okay, let's produce just a smaller quantity. But they'll bring these 4-footer containers, a lot of them full of checks. And we will use it for about 6 months. Then the supplier will come and see them and they say that he's introducing some new features. Then we throw it again. I wrote, they look into my face and asked me, are you the only accountant in this world? Don't you know that even in the UK and US they use check? So you want us to stop producing check? I said, yeah, I wish we can do that. So I saw a lot of rot. But unfortunately, I didn't have the power to hold the bull by the horn at the time. Then in 2010, I joined the World Bank. I left Accountant General and went to work with the World Bank. I thought the problem was Ghana problem. It's equal in Africa. We are just, but Africa, we are brothers and sisters. We are siblings. We all come from the same father, the same mother. The same level of stupidity, stealing everything, it cuts across Africa. You won't believe it. You see some things, you may say, I thought this is only in Ghana. It's everywhere. So I used to go to the Auditors General and say, look, your law allows you as Auditor General to stop this type of misbehavior because you are the only person the law allows to disallow the expenditure and surcharge the person. And if you do that, this nonsense will have stopped. They might have thought you were crazy. Anytime I went, they would say, Daniel, you don't understand. So I tried with several Auditors General. Then they said, I'm the Auditor General of Ghana. I said, now I'm going to run with this law. And by coincidence, Occupy Ghana had also gone to court, and the Supreme Court ruled in 2017, I think March or April, that the Auditor General is obligated to disallow and surcharge anytime he comes across illegal expenditures. So I said, thank God. Now it's not me, it's the Supreme Court. The law is... So I started. So that is where it came from. Because, and mind you, when I was Auditor General and when I was Director, I went around the country. If you see the level of poverty, human beings today's day and age, drinking from the ground. You see some pond which animals even drink from. Human beings are drinking from it. You go and see a school, and you wonder if it's not a death trap for the school children. Some are even under trees. They don't have any structures. When the clouds form, they have to go home. And people are using public funds, which is meant for the public this way. So I had that anger and passion in me that when I get the opportunity, you change things. I'll change things. So that was actually my fear when they appointed me. I said, this guy, to be honest with you, I knew that I will not survive. Even the 4 years, I thought I've done very well. You did do well. Show some love, man. I knew first year I'll survive because I'll be holding the previous administration lesson. Yes. But by the end of the second year, they'll kick me out. Because I'll be holding the current administration. So I started in NS and I was very determined to say that if we cannot hold the top accountable, then we have no business holding the down accountable. Can you imagine the nonsense which happened in Ghana where the Public Accounts Committee will sit and they invite a headmaster from Asankregwa or from Boku or from what to come and explain 10,000 Ghana cedis, which they could not account for and whatnot. And he comes with his Beza, his assistant and his whatnot. They spend about 3 days in Accra. By the time they go back, they spend about 30,000 Ghana cedis to come and explain the 10,000 they wasted. So it has moved from 10,000 to 40,000. So I said, no, if people who are spending or wasting millions cannot be held accountable, then forget about those small ones. Of course, in public financial management, it is said that it storms at the top and drizzles at the bottom. So concentration should be at the top, not where the
That's where the storm is.
Yes, you have to
the
look
bottom
at
is just the drizzle.
It's the drizzling. So it's like when soon you will hear the parliament has approved so many billions for education, for health. Go to the school and see what will you find there. Almost nothing.
Yeah.
So why do you waste your time on schools and hospitals when the minister is living such a at the expense of everybody? So that is where the check is. If we check that place, it will flow. So I was convinced that we need to hold the top accountable, and I hope that President Mahama will do that, since he says
I'm glad you said that, because that leads me right into the what we talk about today, Operation Retrieve or Loot.
Yes.
And I have to admit, when I saw your name in it, I said, oh, wow, then this is a solid team. The name, Domelevo. I just said that, then this is a solid team.
Yeah.
Let me backtrack a bit. When did you receive the call that they want you on the team, and what was your reaction?
I'll come there. But solid team is not a very good thing. Because we have been told recently that what a solid team.
When I look at the economic management team, Professor Jambafo, Dr. Akotose, Dr. Afriye Akoto, Honorable Alan Chiramanting, Boachi Ejaku, Ken Oforiata, Senior Minister Yao Osafo Mafu. What a solid team.
And that solid team has wasted our resources in the country.
I take it back.
So please, solid team.
What a solid team.
You remember that?
I know.
What a solid team, man.
I take it back home.
I tell a
what
friend,
a great team.
I think he was going to say, what a solid waste, instead of a solid team. Because, anyway, just by the way, I was away from the country. I was somewhere in Uganda. Since I left office, I've been doing small, I call it myself galamsey, but not illegal mining. I mean, I do small consultancy. So I got a call one morning, and I was told that the president wants to set up a committee on recovering of looted resources, and they want to make me a member. I said, make me a member? You want me to cause another stay in this country?
If you want him to cause there, show some love, man. We want the stay.
So I was like, okay, what is our mandate? Then it was explained to me that, no, you are not supposed to go down and start investigating people or auditing people, etc. This is just a preparatory stage where the president feels overwhelmed with information which is coming on looting and etc. So he wants a team who he can direct all this to, so that we can put it together and sift through it, and we can bring it to him to say, look, we received maybe 1,000 or 2,000 complaints. Some of them are just information. They are not any substantive thing, but these are the serious ones, and the serious ones, some require auditing, some require investigating, some require the OSP or maybe Yoko's mandate, because it depends. If it is corruption and corruption-related issue, it must go to ASP. If it is money laundering and organized crime, it must go to Yoko. But most of them usually involves auditing. You must have to do an audit to unearth the entire thing. So he thinks that I am best placed to join the team to help with my experience. So I said, well, I've already said earlier on that I'll do anything for Ghana, so no problem. I will join. And I must say, I think that it is a service we need to render for our country, because, you see, it will be in the interest of the perpetrators for it to remain a hearsay and rumor that this has been embezzled, etc.
Yes.
They are afraid that now we are documenting the evidence, which may lead to further investigation and possible prosecution. So they started attacking. And remember, I always said that you can't fight corruption without corruption fighting you. Once you fight corruption, corruption will fight you. And the best form of defense is an attack. So they've started, you don't even have mandate. You are unconstitutional.
Yes.
You are illegal.
I condemn in no uncertain terms the establishment of a so-called committee called ORA. I hold the humble view that it is a needless committee. It has no constitutional backing, and this committee is only in for personal vendetta. If we allow this committee to continue with its so-called wild goose chase, it will disturb the governance of this country.
Unconstitutional establishment and putting together of people who go about harassing former government officials. We believe that the establishment of that oral committee violates and flies in the face of our constitution. And we want the people of Ghana to know that no serious country will entertain anything such as this.
I hope Afenyo Makin, you are listening to this. Yeah. What's the other guy's name? What is it? John Dakun. I hope you're all listening, because they're talking as if they've made you the legal authority to go after and prosecute people.
Yeah.
That is not the mandate.
Yes. Let me tell you the hypocrisy, where the hypocrisy lies, the actual hypocrisy. If you like, when you finish, Google and you will find that on 27th of September 2017, the then senior minister, Osafo Mafo, issued a statement and said that the government has solicited the support of some foreign companies to help the government to gather data, investigate and prosecute.
The loot.
And they were even, yes, the
foreign,
loot.
They were even foreign.
Foreign, and they were paid consultants. That's where, interestingly, that's what resulted in the Kroll and Associates. Kroll and Associates was one of the consultants. So I didn't see the work they did. So those who engaged foreign firms those days and paid our money to them for doing nothing are the people who are now saying that
attacking
Ghanaians who are rendering free service are unconstitutional. Meanwhile, the mandate as stated by Honorable Osafo Mafo those days included helping to investigate and prosecute. We are just gathering information.
We are not prosecuting.
We have not even, the funny part of it is that I heard somebody say, when they invite you, don't go.
And so if you are a former government official and you're invited by this so-called ORA, advice to you from the minority is to boycott any invitation from the ORA team. We are not going to be part of it.
Yes. We've not invited anybody. Somebody should just show us who we have invited. We don't. We say, if you have information, bring it to us. We don't tell that come. We know of a lot of people who have embezzled or misused, are alleged to have embezzled public funds or sitting on public land, etc. We have not invited anybody. It is only when you say you have information, you are bringing to us. You say, yes. Many people call me, then I give them the hotline and say, call the hotline. They will take the details. And the worst part was last week where we said, look, some of these allegations, they may be true, but it sounds incredible. But what will happen to us when we submit our report to the president and say that, KSM is operating on government land. They've gone to destroy his building. Then government writers and say, but we send somebody there, the building is there. So guys, what are you talking about? So we say, let's go on the field to validate the information we are receiving. That is what created the problem. They saw us on TV and etc. Say, the guys are now entering people's homes and doing so. I say, which home? We didn't do that. But let me be honest with you. It was good we went out. Because if you see the extent of the loot, it is done in such an unconscionable manner that you ask yourself, what is wrong with Ghanaians? Like the agric mechanization. I don't know, I hope you know that place, near to the airport, agric mechanization. Well, let's assume that government has actually decided to give it to private developers to develop the place. Let's even assume that that is okay. But even that is the case, don't you think it is proper that the people be given time to remove their documents, their assets, etc.? They just went and removed the roofing of the whole place and left everything at the mercy of the weather. If you go there, you will see documents, including contracts, international contracts. They are all at the mercy of the weather. You will see water pumps, you will see tractors, you will see vehicles, you will see combine harvester, a very sophisticated and brand new. It has never been used. Even the steer still have the rubber on it. It is at the mercy of the weather, left in the open. And say, how do we treat a country like this? It's so unconscionable. At times when you look at it, you say, I kept saying, these are the nation wreckers.
Yeah.
It's not our small pickpockets.
Yeah.
These guys are gangsters. So you wonder, even if you bought something, is that the process that you should use? We were told at a National Development Authority, we also went there because they said a portion of the land has been taken away. We went and actually they put up a wall, which is just about 2 feet away from the building to condone the remaining of the land. No gate, nothing over there. And do you know what? It was done between the 5th, which is Sunday, and the 6th Monday. The construction started Sunday, and they finished building the wall Monday. I said, why do you do this type of things? Even if you have acquired it properly, then why don't you take time and do things? Because I know that when you are going to construct a wall to divide and two distance, there's supposed to be some space. Is that not it? You can't even pass through. I say, what is this? So I always say that fighting corruption is dangerous, and the corrupt are usually steps ahead because they are prepared before they go in to do the corruption. And one of their biggest weapons is attack. They attack till you are disarmed. And many of the perpetrators of the corruption these days, or the looting these days, have wished that it remains only a political talk. That but they are worried now that it's going to be documented with evidence. So you may like to get away with the fact that, how prove it? You have not proven it. Now they've seen that this process which the president has put in place is actually establishing evidence against them. Because before even investigation starts, we have collected sufficient evidence over some people.
Before the investigation.
Yes. So we are just going to recommend that we need further investigation to establish 1, 2, 3. There was one instance also where people didn't get as well. We went to Labone, what they call the AU village. AU village, we saw a lot of sharing there. Then there was one Lomote family who also brought a petition that they leased government land. The land belonged to government and they built on it, but it has been pulled down. So we passed by to see. And the story doesn't sound good. Deep in the night, people just came with armed soldiers and police, and then they say, move out, beating people, and then they pull down their building. At trade fair, I hope you are aware that the trade fair, some tell us that even their machinery was they were not allowed to remove even their machine. They just bring bulldozer and smooth everything. I said, why do you do things like this? In a very unconscionable manner. So it's disheartening. I think, you see, power in Ghana is not understood. I don't think public servants have understood the fact that the essence of the power is to serve the interests of the public. But people now think that once you are in power, you should be served. You should be served.
Yes.
So we confuse the public servant with a public master.
Yes.
So there are no more public servants.
They are masters. We have to serve them.
Yes, truly. But it is. But even that, you can do it in a better way. Not this unconscionable approach or way of doing things.
You said to fight corruption, corruption will fight back.
Definitely.
And you have mounted a major fight against corruption.
Yes.
What kind of fight back are you expecting? Because they have said at this small press conferences by some politicians, when they call you, don't go. It's all a part of the start. Yes. They are going to escalate.
They are warming up.
They are warming up.
Yes, and I'm expecting that very soon somebody will go to the court and say, the whole thing should be set aside because it's illegal.
Yes, I see it coming.
Even though I'm not sure that they will succeed, but they will succeed in delaying the process. Because if they are in court to determine whether what you collected can be lawfully used or
They
not,
can hold you
then
there.
you may be in contempt if you continue. Therefore, that can be in court for some time, so they give them some time to brief.
But how does that threaten the whole validity of oral? If some legal thing can crop up that can impede the progress of the oral, what do you do with that?
I don't think it will definitely impede oral, because mind you, whatever information we are collecting, whatever data we have, nothing stops the anti-graft agencies of collecting the same and going. So even as at now, some of the information are already known to the anti-graft agencies and etc. So I don't think that one can successfully attack the mandate of oral, say that ASP can no more work, or Yoko can no more work, or Attorney General cannot function. They will still function. So the good thing is that the data is there. So it can be used by anybody. Even if oral team is dissolved today, at least we build a database. The database is there, so it can still be used. Yeah.
It reminds me, and what scares me is like how these mobsters operate.
Yeah.
You know, these mobsters, all the areas that you're supposed to take the things there for further investigation could be in the hands of some of these mobsters.
You can say that again.
And what happens when they, at that level, try to frustrate the movement?
You remember there's a scripture saying that the sons and daughters of darkness are well organized. They are very organized, even more than the sons of night. They are very organized.
Yeah.
So what you are saying ties in very well with the lamentation of the, what do you call it, the special prosecutor. Here is an office established to fight graft or corruption and corruption-related issues. The first one resigned, calling the president mother serpent of corruption. We thought, oh, it's Mati Amidu who is not. Then comes the second one and say, even the judiciary are frustrating me. Can you imagine? The judiciary, who is supposed to be neutral,
Yeah.
they should not be playing on anybody's side.
Yeah.
He was crying against the judiciary, which means that somebody has planted people everywhere.
That is my
So
fear,
you go into the police, the man who you are going to report the case to is part of the team. You go to the prosecutor, he is part of the team. You go to the judge, he is part of the team. And the bad thing about corruption is that when the corrupt, they are able to loot, they become so sophisticated that they can buy all the systems. Yeah. They can buy the law enforcement, the judicial system, everything. But in one of the countries, somebody was telling me a case about a corrupt person who was sentenced to imprisonment for about 5 years, who never saw the prison building. Wow. Every morning he comes to the prison and register and go back to his house. And flying all over the world. Meanwhile, he's a prisoner.
He's a prisoner.
Because he has paid his way everywhere. So corruption is a very dangerous animal.
To what level will it affect the operations of oral?
Well, I think corruption is very difficult to fight. But with the level of determination we have, and we are not minded by the fact that we may fail. That's why we are also determined to succeed. So it's going to be very difficult for them to stop us. I'm sure we will do our best, and the buck stops on the table or with the president. Actually, if the president or the leadership shows commitment, I think this cannot stop us. So we may be able to move. My humble prayer, however, and it is a fervent prayer of mine, is that we should not be looking at Operation Recover All Loots. We must take seriously Operation Prevent All Loots. We should not be recovering whilst people are still looting. It's like you are mopping the place and others are pouring more water inside, because new people are being appointed into government. They can also continue the looting. Then it means we have failed. So what I think the president, his watchword should be a stern warning to his appointees to say, my friend, once you cross the line, I'll shoot you. You will not go scot-free. And if you just give us about 2 or 3 examples, the rest will fall in line. People talk about attitudinal change and they say, let's go preaching, let's go training. I don't believe in any of those. Why I don't believe it is that there is no Ghanaian, no matter his level of indiscipline, plant him on the street of New York, you will see how disciplined he becomes.
True.
No matter how indisciplined he is in Ghana, put him on the street of London. He will catch the train on time and report at work on time. But when he's in Ghana, he will tell you who's in Zomra. You see, the clouds are
very
formed.
true.
But when they arrive there, even in the snow, when it is snowing, they are on time.
Yes.
So when you have systems which doesn't look at people, but it is implemented to the letter, it changes everybody. That's why when people say that we have to go back to schools, yes, education is good. I have no problem with it. It's good people know that this is wrong, this is right. I support it. But even the ethic lecturer or master may not be ethical if there are no systems. But when there are systems, you don't need classes. You will change. Let me tell you a quick story about my friend. May he rest in peace. I have a friend called Nana who picked me from my house and we drove to the airport. And he gave the car to his driver to go home. Then we flew to London. The next morning, the sister came with the car and said she was going somewhere, so we should take the vehicle, he should drive. So he started driving, from right to left in London. After 30 minutes, I asked, Nana, what has changed? He said, like what? I said, the way you were driving yesterday. If you were driving like that today, you will have killed 10 people already. Now, even pedestrians, before they step on the road, you stop and smiling at them.
Yes.
Say, hey, is that Nana? You can't try this in Ghana.
That's true.
Then you say that this system is different. So the difference is just system. Put the system in place.
Yeah.
A system which does not respond to do you know me, or I'll call my father, or call my... No.
Yes.
So I asked him, why is that you couldn't practice what you are talking about in Ghana? I say,
you can't get away with it.
When you see they stop you, you say, roll down small, ask, do you know who I am? And they say, yes, sir, go ahead. He said, but let's practice it here. He said, hey, my friend, we won't go back.
Which is very true, but when do you see Ghana getting there, where people will be like disciplined enough to know that if they flout the law, something...
Ghana will get there very soon and quickly if the leadership decides to do it. Everything resides upon leadership. I don't know where you were when Rawlings became the leader of revolution in Ghana.
I know.
Those days I was in school.
Yeah.
We left school to go and evacuate cocoa. Those days, you dare not misbehave.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
If you see a soldier man...
I usually tell people that back in the day we used to have selling for my car circle.
Thank you. Who dare you to cross at the wrong place? The canes you receive... Or litter. The canes you receive behind at your back, you go and show your back to your mother and you won't even recognize that you are the child. So there was discipline. So what I'm trying to say is that when we have the right leadership, like US, UK, etc., all leaders who are committed put systems in place. Leadership brings about systems. And it is that system that we go there and we appreciate so much, not because they are saints.
Yes.
When you plug them and put them into our system, they will misbehave more than us. Because the system there will not allow you. You drive at a certain speed, by the time you reach home, the bill is waiting for you.
Yeah.
And they tell you that if you pay within 2 or 3 days, there's a discount of 10%. But if you wait for 1 week, you pay the full amount. 2 weeks, you go to court and pay twice the amount. And they will take it from you. There's nobody who can make a call to say, I know KSM, so you allow him to go. So if we get the right leadership, which is ready to put in place systems. Let me give you a very small example. People talk about police collecting bribe on our roads.
Yeah.
And I say, why would the police not collect bribe on our roads? There are no systems. Go to even African countries like Malawi, Zimbabwe. Everybody knows that if you cross the red light, it is this amount. If you overspeed, it is this amount. If you do any wrongful driving, it is published in the newspapers. So they know the fines. So if the policeman catch me and I'm not in my seatbelt, I know it's 10 Ghana. So I give you 10 cedis and collect my receipt and go away. But in Ghana, it's not defined anywhere. So because of seatbelt, you are going to go to court. It will take you 2 weeks before they hear you. Yeah. So you just say, okay, my friend, take this 50 or take this 100. So these are system failures. So if the president is minded to arrest corruption, we must pay attention to systems, and do away with who you know business. Because the who you know does not help at all. Our system, I don't know, some call it culture, but I think it is not a good culture if it is. Is that we condone wrongdoing.
Yeah.
You say, oh, I remember when I was Auditor General, I searched somebody, and then after some time, I was told some chiefs were in the office to see me.
For you.
Yes. I said, chiefs? I said, yes. Then they came and said, look, this is our subject. You say charge him. We agree that he is wrong. But the amount, is too much. Can you do something about the amount? I said, why didn't you tell your subject to do something about how much he spent?
Yeah.
It is how much he spent, we determine the
surcharge.
So we may have to stop this culture of condoning wrongdoing. But it can easily be done once we put systems in place. I really believe that if we have a system which is human neutral, it doesn't look into faces. So this is the rule. Once you go there, you pay and you go away. If you escalate it, it becomes worse for you. Ghanaians will behave and behave very well. But if we illiterate Ghanaians, you meet them on the street in Britain and in the US, you will admire them.
Yeah.
They are very principled. They are very timely. Here's the case, it is snowing.
They will go to work.
They will go to work.
Yeah.
But Ghana, they will tell that, Chief, when I was Auditor General, at times you ask somebody, haven't you guys said, not even that it has rained, just the clouds.
Just the clouds.
They saw the clouds. Because of that.
I remember when I came to Ghana after long staying there, and I think in the office, nobody had showed up, So I called one of the workers, who be in here? What is your name? So that's why you are there.
Yeah.
But,
no, the rain has nothing to do with going to work. Meanwhile, they will be paid.
They'll be paid.
That's why I said there's systems.
They'll be paid.
They're the system. If you don't show up,
you get paid.
Thank you.
You don't
so it's
come
as
for
simple
2
as
days, you are
that.
fired.
You have to decide whether you earn your salary or you earn it on daily basis. And so we have to look at this monthly thing again. I think this monthly way of paying people is also a problem for us.
Yeah.
There, they don't pay many people monthly.
Yeah.
They pay you according to days. So you come in today, you work 9 hours, there is overtime. The next day you work 5 hours, they pay you only 5 hours. They pay you for work done. I think we have to address all these things holistically, and maybe it will change our attitude.
Okay.
Yeah.
But until we get there, I'm wishing Oral all the best, because I have scary moments that all the places that are supposed to do the checking and, as you say, let people pay the consequences of the wrong things that they have done.
Yeah.
Those places are occupied by people who can massage, manipulate, and change things.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
your last words, we have just like a minute to go, and your final words for us.
My final word
what
is
we should
that,
expect from the oral.
Yes. As for the oral team, we are committed to render our services to the country. And my rather plea goes to His Excellency the President, that if there are going to be no consequences from his behavior, impunity will take over. So it will not matter whether we have NDC or MPP. Fortunately, one of the honorables, Honorable Boa, said in Parliament that Nana Addo has taught us how not to govern.
Let me remind His Excellency, Honourable Speaker, that his tenure in office will remain a timely reminder of how not to govern the country.
I think this is an opportunity for His Excellency President Mahama to teach us how to govern. We should not repeat the bad things for which we change the government. What pains me most, KSM, is the fact that you will normally hear that they say it was worse during their period.
Yes.
The negative benchmark is say, are you complaining because I've just slapped you?
Yeah.
They were hitting you left and right. Now I've just given you only one slap and you are complaining. We don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
What we want to hear or see is a better governance arrangement and the economy picking up, Ghanaians being happy, and everything being okay. So that is my expectation and prayer. Everything that I've said stops with leadership. If you have the right leader, the system goes right. Bad leader, the same thing. Bad leadership. It leads bad system. Thank you.
Show some love, man. And President Mahama Asem also. I hope you've listened to him. If not, I'll send you the tape myself. Everything The buck stops at your desk. So show us that changes here. Folks, thank you all for joining me today. It's been an amazing comeback. This is the first show for the year, and he has set the tone. From now on, Young Kong is going to be hot and dynamic. So until I see you again, KSM signing off as I always do. I said this time my hand will never plenty. All I say is we are out of one hand. Yeah.
The KSM Show.